Alright, the subject matter is, should you train to be a safety slave? And sorry, I still have a broken hand, so my camera angles are going to be pretty messed up. I've been dreading making this video. Um, let me give you guys some quick background here. I think a couple of days ago, some Delta operator was clipped in a video talking about how he goes into a hot building, he drops his safety, deals with the threat, and then on his way out, when the threat's eliminated, he puts his safety back up, to get in a transport, whatever. Don't quote me on this exactly, but that was pretty much the gist of it, right? Some other soldiers saw that, didn't like it. It was like, that's improper safety use. You need to be using your safety all the time. If you shoot a bogey, you need to put your safety up instantly. And then different people in the gun community started to clip that and put their own takes on it. Trench Grenade did a video on it. M26 Lemon Grenade did a video on it. They both shared their experience in the military, which, by the way, shout out to all the military folks out there. Thank you for the good fight that you guys fight to give the rest of us freedom. That being said, I am a firm believer that some military doctrine is great for military, but it will absolutely screw over a dirty civilian. I was going to make some videos talking about different examples of this. We might as well start with this, okay? Now, I've been dreading making this video a little bit because, in the words of Trench Grenade, anybody that doesn't use their safety like that, don't listen to them. They're a dumb shit. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're stupid. Don't listen to a word they say. That's fine. But the fact of the matter is, it's different when you are in the military. When you're a fucking paladin, you have full plate armor and Kevlar. You have a helicopter ready to take you out if you get injured. They have bags of blood for you. These are things that us dirty civilians just really don't have. And we're also probably not going into a building like that with a unit. I'm not going to have 5 other dudes with me to clear that building out. It's pretty much going to come down to me, unfortunately. That's just the way that it goes, okay? So the question is, do you want to be a safety slave? Now, I call them safety slaves. I will admit, it looks really cool. I see plenty of dudes at the range. I call them safety slaves, and I'll explain why. These guys will drop their safety, take 2 shots, pull their safety up in one fluid motion. Operating that safety has become part of firing their weapon. For me, I want those to be 2 separate things. I do not want them together because of muscle memory. And I'll get into this. I want to keep them separate. Part of it comes down to what happens if you have to use a different rifle. Right? And you might be really good at operating your safety that you've trained, 10,000 rounds on. I give you a different rifle and it has a grimy safety on it, and that one doesn't work as well. It could get in your way. What happens if you pick up an AK? Now you're trying to cycle a safety that's not even there, right? And, this shit would happen under extreme circumstances where you don't have time to think, and you would be giving up time to the enemy. That's what this comes down to. One of the comments that I saw was, what about Glocks and stuff? Like, you guys are talking mad shit about anybody working their way through a house with their safety not on. A lot of Glocks don't even have safeties, right? Does this only apply to rifles? Like, how come it's okay with a Glock, but, if you have that rifle, you better have that safety up the whole time? And like I said, don't get me wrong, it looks really cool at the range. These guys that just do it in one fluid motion. But like I said, to me, muscle memory kicks in, and that fluid motion, that is you shooting now. Before you pull the trigger, you're instinctively going to try to drop a safety that might not even be there. And then also what happens when, as soon as, like, bad timing, right? As soon as you click your safety up, as soon as you're in like mid-click, a bad guy turns the corner and points his gun at you and your safety's up. Now you got to drop that safety to take a shot at him. Bad timing, right? Now, because of what Trench Grenade said about being a dumbass and nobody should listen to anybody talking about this, I'm not going to give you advice on whether or not you should use a safety in that manner. What I'm going to say is, think for yourself. You should be drawing from the vastest pools of knowledge that you possibly can. I'll watch videos that military personnel make. I will watch videos that SWAT team members make. You know, everyone and anyone. I will watch videos that criminals make just to learn from that. But at the end of the day, it's up to me to sift through all that data and figure out what actually applies to me and my family. What's going to help me, the dirty civilian that I am, because a lot of times military doctrine is great for soldiers, but it's going to get someone like me killed, okay? Trench grenade. No offense, dude. You're a better soldier than me. You could probably afford to give up 3 milliseconds to the enemy. You're also a fucking paladin. You're wearing full plate armor with Kevlar. You can afford to give up 2-3 milliseconds. I probably can't. I don't have a team around me. I don't have a helicopter with blood bags. You know, I'm probably going to be a one-man show. And in most home intruder situations, those milliseconds could be the difference between, me taking down a home intruder and another home intruder, or me taking down a home intruder and the other one shoots me. And now I've killed his brother or his cousin, and that guy's going to go on a fucking rampage. And I don't even want to know what's going to happen to my family. So I don't personally feel like I should be giving up those milliseconds. When me and my family are on the line here. Different strokes, different folks, you know, but I'm always preaching, think for yourselves. I'm not in the military. I'm not in a military unit. Chances are either are you, right? So let's actually look at what M26 Lemon Grenade said. By the way, shout out to all the veterans and shout out to all the people that safeguard this country. The work that you guys do is amazing, and I have mad respect for all of you. Part of the reason why I dreaded making this video, because I'm really not trying to start shit with any of them. But let's actually look at one of my rifles and see what these guys are talking about. All right, so I have my broken hand in the way. We have a rifle here, and we have our safety. What M26 was saying is that the military told him when he deployed is, you see my finger back here, it's not on the trigger. Pretty much, if you're going into a building, you're going to be walking around with your finger off the trigger, and you're going to have your thumb on the safety right here. Right? As soon as you see a bad guy, you're going to drop your safety. Then you're going to pull the trigger. As soon as that bad guy's down, you're going to pull that safety back up. I don't know exactly what loadout these guys had, but I've already noticed an issue with this. I have an ambi safety, right? It's on both sides. So my finger is locked out right here. When I'm pulling down on this safety, it's hitting my finger right here. Right? So, you know, this is going to change from weapon to weapon. You know, you might be really good at dropping the safety and pulling your trigger on your gun that you have put 10,000 rounds on and practiced this with. But what happens if I have to give you a different rifle? And like I said, like the safety's grimy on it. You could slip over that safety, and now you've bought your enemy half a second, you know, whatever it is, you're giving them more time. And again, a soldier in full plate could probably get away with this, but somebody like me, that's, you know, I'm sorry to have to say this, it's the truth, I'm not as good of a soldier as Trench Grenade. You know, so me giving up a second is probably a death sentence for me. Again, think for yourselves. At the same time, some people might want to apply this safety theory. if you are a very jumpy person, right? If you jump and clench your butt cheeks when a book hits the ground, and you know that about yourself, then yes, you might want to keep your safety on the whole effing time. It all comes down to you. You need to know yourself. You need to know your strengths. You absolutely need to know your weaknesses. So at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to the person. But I could totally see why some people would not play the safety game. And like I said, I want me pulling the trigger and me dropping the safety to be two separate things as far as muscle memory goes. Because then when I pick up an AK and I have to shoot somebody with it, I'm not trying to put down a safety that's not there, right? Because I have spent, 30,000 rounds at the range teaching my muscle memory to, have this be shooting a rifle instead of just pulling the trigger, right? Again, what about Glocks? What about guns that don't have safeties, right? Yeah, it's cool to clear a house with a pistol that doesn't have a safety on it if that's what you have to do, right? So how does that apply to that? Does it only apply to rifles? What happens if I hand you an AK and you're trying to drop safeties while you're shooting, right? So it is what it is. I will be dropping more videos talking about how military doctrine can absolutely get a civilian fucked up, and you probably really should just think for yourselves. It's what I do, and I guess now I'm going to go read some hateful comments because I've made myself technically the voice of opposition here. But I just want everyone to remember, I'm not saying to do this or not to do this. I'm saying to think for yourselves. And I think that, yes, some people should train themselves to be a safety slave, and other people shouldn't. It all depends on what you're getting into, what you're going to be doing, and what's going to benefit you and your family. And that's up to you to figure out. Have an awesome day. I will see you on the flip side. And thank you for all the support, everybody. You guys have been awesome. And I have some new firearms on their way right now, and I cannot wait to review them. It's going to be awesome. So I will see you there.